Well, welcome to Tuesday Morning Basics, guys. I'm sorry, I've completely lost control of the class. We're just all having fun, and it's become a social time. So we were discussing footwear in yoga and pluses or minuses. They do have special yoga socks if you find that your feet are cold in the winter, and sometimes that translates to cramping, right? Which is kind of counterproductive. Yeah, they have little rubber on the bottom, stops. Or Nancy was noticing whenever it's very cold, I like to wear my yoga pants that have the stirrups that then I can just pull up. But again, they have the rubber on the bottom. Yeah.
My toes are that I can't concentrate.
So once you figure out what your feet need to have on them, and you hopefully can get that. Hi, Susan. Then we're actually going to start class in Vajrasana pose today. And a lot of times students come to this and they just kind of sit like we did when we were in third grade, right? And story time. And they say, well, this doesn't do anything except mash my knees up. And so how do I get in Vajrasana? We really want to be strengthening the entire leg and we want to be opening the front of the legs. Okay. So, and then we want to ground through the pelvis. So the key for Vajrasana, in my humble opinion, is getting yourself built up enough that your lower legs can be comfortable. So it might be a blanket. We have a bolster and a blanket going over there. It might be bringing your blocks in and then placing something on top. So experimenting with what do I need? Then once you get up high, now you feel like, okay, I'm just kind of sitting on a chair with my legs behind me. Now we bring the muscular energy of the legs to bear, right? So we make certain first that all 5, well, hopefully you have 10, all 10 toenails are pressing into the ground and that the heels are slightly on the outsides of the hips or right underneath the hip bones, all right? Not rolling in or rolling out big time. Then as you press the toenails down and lift up through the arches of the ankles, it's not going to be a big lift for most of us. We don't have that strength, but don't just let the ankles splay back behind you. Then you begin to press the knees down and draw the knees in. So now we're using the inner edges of the legs to squeeze whatever we're sitting on. You starting to feel some energy in the legs now? Okay, good. That's what we want. Now, as you draw your pelvis forward and then lift your heart up, engage the core. You might feel your shoulders came forward again. So you just roll the shoulders back and down and take them apart side to side. We're pressing down and rooting into whatever we're sitting on. So if it's fine for you to not build up and to sit on your heels while you do this, that's cool. Then you press down into the heels. But the key here is keeping the legs very, very active. Once you've found your variation of Vajrasana, I want you to keep all of that squeezing. As Susan says, get your squeeze on. And then lift up and press down through the pelvis. So the heart lifts up, the pelvis press down, and the spine gets long. Let your eyes close if they haven't already. And then your thumbs or your hands can come to your thighs. It's going to be an interesting class. Your hands can come to your thighs and either palms down or palms up. I see a Yana Mudra going on over there, that idea of as we cradle the hands together, looking for wisdom, grounding through the pelvic area. Stephanie is, I think, already kind of tuned into where I'm headed here, which is good. So any position that works for you to begin to quiet the mind and to bring the breath into a nice, even Samavriti pattern. There is a quote by Amit Ray. And the quote is, yoga is not just repetition of poses. It is more about the exploration and discovery of the subtle energies of life. And we explore that on our mat by discovering the subtle energies and exploring those within our body. How do we get there? So in poses like Vajrasana, where it's easy to just kind of plunk down and let the body land where it may, and your yoga teacher can't really tell if you're bringing to bear all the energy that you might. Instead, letting the yoga truly begin by saying, okay, what's more in this pose? What else can I do here? If I move and press my pinky toe side down, do I change the feeling in the legs? Exploring and understanding how when you make small changes in the foundation, it can affect large areas of the body moving up. So today, as we move through poses, I would really encourage you to take the time in each pose to really think about from the foundation up, building that pose and exploring the energy within it, seeing if you can find something a little bit different in your poses today, even if they're familiar poses that you've done 1,001 times, not letting momentum take over, but keeping muscular energy and your mind guiding your yoga. Take one more full inhale here. And one more full exhale out. If you need to shift your position at all, go ahead. We're going to explore some 4-7-8 breath work in order to, again, further ground ourselves and calm our bodies. So if your legs are getting tired and you need to shift, feel free. We'll only take 3 rounds, so we won't be here for a long time. I'll wait for everyone to get settled and to come back. And if your hands feel good down on your thighs, leave them there. Again, we want that connection and that grounding. If you prefer when you practice your breath work to have your hands at your heart center, that's fine. You choose the position that works for you. We'll take a complete and full exhale first. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4, retain it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Deep cleansing breath in. Drop the jaw and completely and fully exhale. And then let the breath just return to normal. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart center if you haven't already. Hopefully you feel nice and heavy through the pelvic area, light through the upper body. If you have not set a sankalpa for your practice this morning, go ahead. Otherwise, you might choose that intention of being mindful as you move through your practice, exploring each pose. Wherever you are, when you're ready, exhale, gently bowing, honoring your intention on your mat, as well as beginning to open up the back of the neck. Inhale, lifting the head up, letting the eyes softly flutter open, and letting the hands come down around the knees. How'd we do with the 4-7-8 breath work? Okay, good, good. Hopefully when we accent the exhale, tends to help us feel grounded, right? We're pressing, we're using that breath work that helps us to root down and to feel grounded. 4-7-8 is a great breath if you're ever struggling to get back to sleep when you wake up at night, to just do 3 or 4 rounds of 4-7-8, see how that feels. Let's go ahead and, what'd you say?
I could have used that last
She could have used that last night. Go ahead, press forward and take any props away, keeping your blocks nice and close to you, your blanket nice and close to you, and maybe your strap nice and close to you. If you are using a playlist and you'd like to start it, I did not send a new one out. Go ahead and start your playlist now. And we'll all meet in a tabletop position here. See if all my electronics are going to work. On Friday, they were annoying me. Now, as you come to this tabletop, notice how the legs feel. Take a moment to explore your table, pressing the mat down and away, lifting up through the shoulders, and then making certain that the knees are right underneath the hips. Press the toenails flat into the floor, and then notice where your ankles naturally want to go. Do the heels roll out? If so, can you rotate and draw the heels in towards the midline? Do the heels fall in? If so, roll them out. Pull the belly button up and in and make the spine long here. As you take a few breaths, just noticing where your weight is centered. Hopefully you're feeling some of the weight in the front of the legs and in the hands. If you're feeling it just in the wrists, then I'd like you to think about pressing down through the finger pads, the root knuckles, drawing up through the middle of the hand, drawing the inner arms close together, and then rolling the shoulders onto the back. Take one more breath here, and then we'll enjoy 5 cat-cows. So when you're ready on an inhale, lift the sit bones, draw the belly towards the floor, heart comes through. As you exhale, reverse that, find your cat. Keep going with your own breath. We don't have any brand new yogis here this morning. Just noticing how the back feels, so you don't need me to count you through cat-cow. Exploring the spine as you move through these poses, waking it up, becoming aware of any knots, any blocks in the energy. When you've completed your 5, simply come to a nice neutral tabletop, and that will tell me you're ready to move on. And from here, we'll press that left hand into the mat, draw the right arm up and bring it in right next to the right ear. Shift the weight over so that you can gently lift that left knee up, but don't extend the leg yet. Just kind of bend that left knee and make certain that you feel strong. And then with purpose, extend through the left heel, taking the leg out nice and long, drawing up through the back of the left thigh. Notice if that makes your belly break and go towards the floor like in your cow pose. Pull the belly button up and breathe into the back. Make a fist, exhale, and curl in, knee to elbow, crunching in. Inhale, stretch out long. Keep going. We'll do 5 of these total. Noticing that your spine should be mimicking your cat-cow here if you're using the entire body, front and back. Bring the right hand down to the mat and take the left toes over to the right side. Reach the toes down to the floor, stretch through the heel and look over the right shoulder. A couple of nice big breaths in and out here. I love BKS Iyengar said, "It is through the alignment of the body that I discovered the alignment of my mind, myself, and my intelligence." Inhale, lifting that left leg up and draw the knee in. We'll do that on the other side. So plant that right hand. And again, take a moment, draw the left arm out and notice, where does my left arm normally go? Can I bring it in close to the left ear? Can I draw the shoulder on the back even as I stretch through the left arm? And then can I bend the right knee and simply lift it up and then purposefully press as though you're pressing a weight away with the right heel. Lift up through the right thigh, pull the belly up and in. And then make a fist and curl in. Keep going with your crunches. This is going to be interesting. I unloaded a new mat this morning and I didn't take the time to condition it. It's really slick, Susan. When you've completed your 5, we'll stretch that right leg over to the left side and look over the left shoulder. Breathe. Can you feel this stretch through the right hip, through the right side body? Maybe even make it go so far that you feel it up into the right armpit. And then lift that right leg up, bring it back in line. We're going to swing the right knee forward as though you were headed to pigeon. Take the pigeon prep, take that right knee to the outside of the right wrist. We're not headed to pigeon though, so don't fold down. Then draw the right knee closer to the center of the mat. Swing the left knee in nice and tight next to the right knee. If you've got your blocks available and you know your hips are tight, it's early in class, grab a block And as you roll back and down, place that block underneath where your sit bones will land. So draw your left knee way up inside your right knee. Left knee way up inside your right knee. Left knee. It's like Twister. Fran's going to start over. She's like,
I have to start over.
There you go.
This needs to come up here.
No.
No.
Look over at Nancy. There you go.
Okay, let's start again.
There you go.
Right.
Everybody online got it?
Then put this-
Some of you I can't see because you're too low, so I'm going to assume you got it. All right,
Yep.
Nancy's helping Fran. So we're headed to Gomukhasana, right? If you've got your strap, you can grab your strap. If you don't have your strap, you're just going to grab your shirt, so no worries. All right. If you're using your strap, take that strap over your right shoulder. Lift up through the spine, give the hips a moment to open, and then notice, like when I roll into this, and I notice it with many students, one leg is forward, one leg is back. The first place we want to start is our foundation. So can you even those legs out a little bit, drawing the upper leg back a little, the lower leg walks forward. We're trying to draw them on an even plane across the hips. That will change what's happening in the hips. If this is not comfortable, stick a block underneath your butt. Don't be proud. Be proud when you are able to honor your body. And then take that right arm out and flip the palm skyward. Use the left arm to reach all the way up. Reach down the back, maybe pat your shoulder blade, maybe grab your strap, maybe just grab your shirt. And then when you're ready, that left arm reaches out, flip the thumb down, reach behind you to get the rotation on the shoulder, and then bend the elbow. Reach up the back. You might find your fingers, you might find your shirt, you might simply press one palm in one spot in the back, one in the other. Now from here, wherever you are, press the hands into the back or burst your strap and draw the elbows opposite directions. So the left elbow presses down, the right elbow reaches up. If that is too intense, feel free to let go with the lower arm and simply use your left arm to help draw the right elbow up towards the sky. That tricep opening is really what I'd like you to get here. And if we've got that, the shoulder opener. And then go ahead and release that. Roll the shoulders out if you need to as you move your strap off to the side of your mat. You can guess where we're headed next, right? Hands come back by the hips and you rock yourself forward. If you needed a block on the other side or simply chose to use it, you'll probably want it on this side too. So come back, find your table. And then as you draw that left knee forward, I like to think I'm headed to pigeon prep, and then bring the knee into the center of the mat. Shift your weight forward, snug the right knee up into the left knee. And the wider apart you get the feet here at the beginning and more evenly balanced, the better it is as you bring your butt back and land either on the floor or on your blocks. Again, watch the legs, taking a look at how they landed, noticing if the hips don't want to take the rotation, and then settle in with your strap. Extend that left arm out, float the palm skyward, reach up. I like to reach over with the other arm and help the arm get in place. Take the right arm out if you're adding that, flip the thumb down, reach behind you, and then bend the elbow, finding that strap. It's early in class to be doing a full Gomukhasana. So, give yourself the props, give yourself the space to explore your body. Notice if your head is pointed towards the floor or your belly button, can you lift up through the head? Breathe in, turn up the corners of your mouth. Nancy, that looked like a grimace. With your right arm. If it's too intense, release the bottom arm and just use it to draw the upper arm up, getting that tricep opener. All right. If you really want to have fun, sometimes Susan does a great transition between Gomukhasana sides where you unwind yourself, and it's a lot of fun. I don't usually do it in class because I can't do it right. All right, I end up on the wrong. I'm like, wait, that's not what I wanted. Let's start over. Okay, take your strap off and roll your shoulders a little bit. Just give those hips another breath or two to keep opening up, grounding down into the blocks, lifting up through the heart. And then when you're ready, you can place your hands back by your hips, use that to help you rock forward, move any props that you have. Now keep the legs, if you can, keep the legs snugged up. So come back where you are. I want to add a Desiree stretch here. I love this stretch. So the hands come out in front of you as though you were headed to puppy dog. Press the feet down into the mat. And as you exhale the hips back and down for a side body stretch, you roll the top leg's knee up off the mat. Nice big hip opener, side body stretch. The ears can come in line with the arms and you begin to press the shoulders subtly away from each other. And then press the hands back into the mat and unwind the legs. We're going to wind this back up on the other side so we can get the Desiree stretch on this side. So now you know what you're doing with your legs. We're just coming back to that Gomukhasana leg position. Fran's like, no, I don't remember what I'm doing with my legs. Thank you very much. And now your right knee should be in front and your left knee snugged back. You got it. As long as the other one is, no one cares. Hands come forward. Press the toenails into the ground as you roll onto the knife edges of the feet. Stretch through the body. It's kind of a combination. Gomukhasana legs and child's pose. Nancy, how does this feel on your knee?
It's okay.
Okay, good. Take one more full breath here. Don't let me rush you. And when you're ready, inhale, rock yourself forward. Take the legs back through a tabletop and then draw the toes in tight. Take the knees out wide. Drop the hips back and down. And now stretch out nice and long, like that cat sitting in the sunshine. I always love how they can just look like they own the place, right? They do own the place. Stephanie's like, you've got that wrong. They do own the place. They know it. All right, next breath. Press your palms into the mat. Inhale, slide up through your tabletop position. Draw your right leg forward and bring your blocks in to frame your front foot. Lift up through your heart. Now, stretch the right leg out in front of you and point your toe. Notice where your hips are here, all right? So hopefully with the toe pointed, we've released the hamstrings, right? So we're not all freaked out about what our legs are doing. Get your hips even. So for most of us, that means pressing down through the left knee and watching where the right knee is, where the right hip is falling, right? We want to have the hips even, so pull back through the right leg. Now introduce the flexed foot. And we should have just felt the hamstrings go, oh, hi. So go ahead and point the toe and flex and point and flex. One more time, point and flex. Now use your blocks by bringing them in closer to your hips, coming up onto your fingertips, lifting up through your heart. Get your back nice and flat. Check, look down at your toes and make certain your foot's not wonky. That's a technical term, all right? Make sure it's not wonky, but the foot is even. Keeping the hips nice and even. Fold the belly towards the thigh. You can bend the elbows. You can bend the knee slightly if you need to release the hands a little bit. You can release the toes. So you're in control of this stretch. How much do you want? How little do you want? Inhale, lifting back up. Plant the right foot. Walk the blocks forward, keeping your chest high and lifted, and start to draw your hips down and forward. So nice big hip flexor stretch. If you're not feeling this through that back thigh, that's what we're looking for. I want you to dig your toes in, take your back knee further back if you're not feeling it in the back hip flexors already. Couple of breaths, belly button pulling in, heart lifting high. If you'd like to add in here, you can always let the arms float up and see how the back feels. If the back is crunchy here, it's usually because we're not pulling in through the belly. So pull in through the belly and lift through the heart to support that low back. And then bring the hands down to frame the front foot and walk yourself back. We're just going to switch the legs out so the right knee comes down and the left foot comes forward. So here again, stretch through that left leg, but release the hamstrings, point the toes. Make certain that right knee is coming straight down out of the right hip and press actively through the right knee to engage the front quad. Then start to pull that left hip back in space. Make certain if it needs to go up or down, you've adjusted, and begin to flex the foot. Maybe point the foot. Just going back and forth and noticing, oh, this leg is tighter, this leg feels more loose. And then hold that flexed position with the blocks in nice and close so that you've got lots of lift. Pull the belly button in as you exhale, forward fold, floating down. Now I'm looking towards the camera, which is a big no-no. My neck is way out of line. So try to make certain that you're looking at like your ankle and seeing, can you keep the spine in line? So the back is nice and flat and the neck is taken care of here. A lot of the yoga instructors complain about my neck hurts, and we realize it's because we're always looking up in positions, trying to see how you guys are doing. Inhale, lifting up, and take a breath. Then walk the blocks forward. Let the hips descend and come down. So those back legs, try not to adjust them. Unless as you get here, you realize, oh, I'm too shallow. I'm not feeling it in my hip flexors. Then dig the back toes in, lift the knee up. Take a moment here, just pushing the hips down and forward, exploring those hips. And then when you're ready, pull the belly in, lift the heart, and let the arms simply float up off the blocks because they're not even holding you there anymore. Beautiful. Bring the hands back down to your blocks. Walk your hips back to a neutral position. Take the blocks off the side of the mat. Bring your hands down to your mat. Walk the knees back an inch or two. Tuck your toes and find your first down dog this morning. Take a moment here to enjoy your down dog, exploring it any way that you would like to. For some of us, that means rolling the hips. For some, it might mean moving back and forth between a plank and a down dog. For some, it simply means walking mindfully, the legs out. Nice. Now on an inhale, shift your weight forward to your plank. We're going to use this to check our spacing. Now, as you come to your plank, if you notice, oh, I feel all jammed up, I'm way too short, and you have to roll your heels back, then you know I take too short of a down dog. Lift the hips, exhale, press back, and find your down dog. Trying not to move the hands or the feet. One more time, inhale back to your plank, checking your spacing. So Stephanie, press through your heels a little more. Press back through your heels. Yeah, lengthening. Yep, lengthening. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Then when you inhale, when you exhale, press back up and find your down dog. And take a breath or two. Yeah, good. Okay. With your next inhale, look forward, bend your knees, and walk up to the front of your mat. So you can do it any way you'd like. Just make your way up to the front of your mat, finding a nice deep forward fold, which probably means for most of us that the hamstrings are still tight enough, the legs to have a nice big bend. Inhale, rise halfway for Ardha Uttanasana, straightening the legs now, pressing up through the sit bones. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up. Is your back flat? Are your shoulders on your back? Exhale, forward fold. One more Ardha Uttanasana, and let's make this the strongest one yet. So as you inhale, hands come to the shins, legs straighten out, weight is centered on all four corners of the feet. Shoulders roll onto the back, sit bones lift, belly pulls in. Pull that belly in on the exhale and forward fold. Let the hands float down and see if it's even more relaxed. Forward fold. And then bring the hands to the hips. Look at your belly button as you bend your knees and rise all the way up to standing. Make certain the gaze lifts, not really last because the hands lift last. Exhale the hands down to the heart, but we want to go slowly whenever we're upside down, right? Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, forward folding. Inhale, halfway for Ardha. Exhale and fold. Plant your hands and step right, left, back to a plank. Remembering you can drop the knees to a modified plank, whatever one serves you. Exhale, find chaturanga, and then come all the way down to your mat. Lengthen through the spine, lift through the heart, finding your baby cobra. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and press back and up into your down dog. Take 3 breaths. And then we'll complete when you're ready our Sun A. So behind your 4th inhale, look forward. Don't let me rush you. Behind your 4th exhale, step or hop up to the front of your mat. Finding your forward fold, inhaling halfway for Ardha. Yep. Exhaling and folding. Inhale, sweep those arms all the way up, lift up. I got a little too expressive and I'm throwing things. Exhale the hands down to the heart center. Shake it all out. Costume adjustment time if you need anything. All right, so we just flowed through a couple of sun A's. I just want you to remember that's the basic building block of any yoga, of almost any yoga class. Shoulders doing okay?
Everything is just so painful.
Everything is painful, Nancy says.
I know it's cold.
Yeah, the cold is really getting into everybody's joints, right? So let's find all four corners of the feet. Roll around on the ankles a little bit as you ground down into your mat. So take a moment here and just wiggle around. Find all four corners. We talked in yoga for our yoga teacher trainees that are online. We talked about the three corners and the four corners. So whichever one works for you today, think about that. You can either center into three corners, meaning just the heel, the calcaneus, and the inner and outer of the foot, or you can find inner and outer, big toe, little toe, right? So four corners or three corners. Which visualization helps you find more stability? Latch onto that. Press down through the feet, draw the shins in close together, draw the thighs way apart. Pull the belly button up and in to support the back and roll the shoulders apart. Let the arms externally rotate, lift through the head. Inhale, sweep the eyes and the arms up. Right arm grasps left wrist. Press the left foot down as you reach up through the left arm and over to the right. Notice if you're curling towards that right foot, pull the left shoulder back, draw the right rib cage forward. Shift your weight over to the right foot and take your left toes out to the left side. Now flex your foot, so don't lift it at all, just flex it. And then see, can you lift and lower and lift and lower and lift and lower. Come back to the center. Take the arms wide apart, lift through the heart, nice little back bend. Come back into the midline, left hand grasps right wrist. Stamp that right foot down, lift up through the right side, stretch to the left. Breathe in and out and check in on the shoulders, rolling the right shoulder back, the left rib cage forward. When you're ready, shift the weight to the left foot, take the right toes out to the right side, keep the leg right where it is and flex the right foot. Then see, can you lift and lower and lift and lower and lift and lower. Come back through the center. We'll take one more of those heart openers. So lift through the heart, arms go out nice and wide, welcoming the sun. Come on, come on. Come back through the center and exhale the hands down to the heart. Inhale, sweep the eyes and the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward folding. Plant the hands, bend the left knee, lift the right leg up and stretch it out parallel to your mat. Then bend into the left knee and float the right leg back, taking a nice deep runner's lunge. Hopefully it's deeper than you usually go. Let's do that a couple more times now that you know what I want. So step into your left foot, lift up, straighten the left leg and take the right leg straight behind you. Then as you bend into that left knee, float your weight back towards your right foot and let it drop down. So if you notice you're shortening your leg or pulling forward, let's see if we can stop that. One more time, step into the left foot, straighten the left leg, float the right leg up, parallel to your mat. Bend your left knee. You can even look down and watch as you push the weight back towards the right heel, letting the weight land back. Pivot the right foot down, finding warrior two legs and windmill up into your warrior two. Is your warrior two a little deeper than you normally go this time because you allowed yourself a nicer stance? Take a deep breath in and get nice and heavy in your warrior two, letting the pelvis sink towards the floor. Noticing that front knee. If as you sink, the knee comes forward of the ankle, then just adjust, tidy up your feet. Flip your front palm and reach up with the left hand and down with the right for reverse warrior. Then as you exhale, reach further back behind you with that left hand. Come back through your warrior two, bend the left elbow. And as you reach the left shoulder towards the front of the mat, float the left elbow, the left forearm to the left thigh. Right arm comes out over. Now, take that right arm back parallel to or perpendicular to the body. And notice whatever motion you use to get your arm there over your ear, do you back bend when you come into this pose? Try not to back bend. Keep the ribs engaged. Now we're going to notice the left booty. is the left butt cheek sticking out. Pull the left butt towards the right heel. I just said butt, yes. Reach out through the arms and then draw the right shoulder back like we did in that crescent stretch. All right, if you'd like a challenge here, press down through the feet, lift the left forearm off, find your beach ball. Inhale, lift that up, and as you exhale, stretch it back behind. Keep squeezing that ball. Inhale, take the arms back to warrior two. On the next inhale, straighten the front leg, and on the exhale, float back down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, float down. Inhale, straighten. Watch the track of the left knee and come back down. Windmill the arms down to frame that front foot, finding your runner's lunge. Press into the left foot, float up so you're standing on the left leg. Right leg is parallel to the ground. Drop the right foot down by the left and shake those legs out. Inhale, halfway up for Ardha. Exhale and fold. Okay, 3 times we're going to play with that, deepening our lunge. So bend the right knee, hands come to the mat. Float the left leg up, stick it out behind you, and as you lift through the back thigh, the leg should be parallel to the mat. Bend the right knee, start to push with the hands and take your weight back so that your foot goes way back behind you. Inhale, float into that right leg, lifting the left leg up behind you. Bend into the right knee, floating back, dropping the foot down. One more time. Inhale, straightening that right leg, balancing on the right leg. Bend the right knee, push back with the hands, and float the left foot down. Pivot the left foot so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat, and windmill up. You guys have to correct me when I say the wrong thing. Kent's not here, so I can just get away with all sorts of stuff. Now, when you're in your warrior two,
You're not getting away with it.
Nancy said, I'm not getting away with it. They're just letting me go. All right, in your warrior two, I want you here to notice, let's notice the butt, the right butt, before we go anywhere with the warrior. For a lot of times what we see is the butt kind of sticking out and the right heel, maybe the knee coming in. So I want you to pull your right heel towards the midline, so it's lined up with your second toe, which will rotate your right butt down towards your left heel. Lift up through the heart, sink down through the pelvis. Couple of breaths here, looking out over the front fingers. Is your chest parallel to the long edge of your mat? Flip the front palm, nice deep reverse warrior. So reach up first and then reach back. Couple of breaths. I love it. Yeah, Stephanie would like a little more, so she's added a bind. When you're ready, inhale, come back through your warrior two. We're gonna bend that right elbow. Now think about your right side body. Taking your right shoulder towards the front of your mat, just let the right forearm float down to the thigh. Rather than crunching down, nice long side body, just placing it down there. Then notice your arm. When I draw the arm over my left ear, do I back bend? Pull the ribs in, press down through the back foot. Left shoulder should be over the right shoulder. Breathe. Look down. I tend to press back too much, so my knee is not stacked over my ankle, cheating myself. When you're ready, stretch that right arm out. Lift the beach ball up, keeping the low body the same, and then reach it back and come back through the center. Windmill the arms down, finding your runner's lunge. Press your right foot back by your left. Lift your hips to a down dog or take vinyasa, your choice. We'll meet in a down dog. And take a couple of breaths. Once you come to your down dog, remember, this is your home base in yoga. So check your hands. Are they spread nice and wide? Are you shifting the weight away from the wrist? Draw the forearms together, roll the upper arms away. Breathe into the back as you lift the hips. Exhale the heels towards the floor. Beautiful. Plant that left foot, lift the right leg up high behind you, bend the knee, and find a three-legged dog with a twist. Square the hips off, draw the right knee in and place the foot in between your hands. Grab your blocks and bring them in. We're headed to a lizard lunge. So walk that right foot off. Now, before you just descend down, let's play with the hips a little bit. So right hand can come to that right knee, or actually I'd prefer that it's more on the thigh, all right? Before you go anywhere, look to make certain, is my right knee on top of my right ankle? And then have I moved my right foot out far enough that I feel like I'm stacked and I could stay here, right? You can have the left knee down. If you can have it up, that's great. Then just gently start to work the leg back and forth, opening that hip up, finding inner outer edges of the foot. All right, bring the right hand down and plant that right foot. Shift your weight forward of your wrist, so you're pressing through your toes coming forward, and then over to the side, press back. We're doing some hip rolls over to the left. Use the hands. And now, just because we all really need it, drop that left knee down as you still your lizard and lay the left toes long. You can stay here lifted, right? You can move the blocks. Susan cracked me up in class. What did you say? Shake, shake, hot dog, hamburger?
Yeah. She figures that out.
She's a mom, right? All right, so you can lift it up and find the position that supports, or you can engage the low body. So you press the back toenails in. That helps take some of the pressure off the knee. You press the right hip down and forward, and you pull the back hip up and away. Pull the belly button in. From here, you might feel so supported that, yes, you begin to descend the upper body down. But don't let go of the engagement in the low body. This isn't just a let's contort. All right, so if you're pressing those back toenails in, trying to almost lift that knee up without lifting it, notice if your left hip is closer to the ground. If so, pull the right hip down and the left hip up. One more breath here. And then go ahead and bring the hands back in underneath the shoulders. Take the blocks off to the side of your mat. Walk your right foot to the inside of your hands, and then draw your right knee to the outside of your right wrist and slide your right foot back by your left hip. If you're working on the shins forward variation, you can go ahead and do that, like I see Stephanie pulling there, and I see a few people online. If your shin is forward, remember, foot flexed, outer edge of the foot pressing into the ground. Most of us need to work with the knee back. Now, Fran, can you pull your right knee further outside your right wrist? So steeper angle. Yeah. Give your hips room. Beautiful. So if your foot is back, toenails pressing into the mat. Either way, I want your left leg reaching for the back of the mat, your toenails pressing into the ground. Then you can descend. Find the pose that is comfortable for you. In this pose, if you feel yourself rolling forward, please lift up. Push back through the back leg and simply fold. It will change what's happening in the outer right hip. Just a couple of breaths here, please. Now, a transition that I always love, but always befuddles students. Walk your hands underneath your heart and lift up. We're simply going to roll over to the right hip. Stretch the left leg out. You'll be facing kind of the back corner of your mat. Draw your right foot into a Janu Shirsasana. So you can tidy yourself up if you need to. Hands come back behind the hips. Plant yourself. If you're using your strap for your Janu, you can take it around your feet, your foot. Inhale up, twist towards that left thigh. Exhale and stretch the left thigh and the belly close together. Just take a couple of breaths here. Notice if being in a different spot on your mat is irritating. Some of us are like, no, 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 no. In Janu Shirsasana, I should be facing the front of my mat. Let go of that. Explore the pose. On your next inhale, walk your hands up your leg. I'm getting a lot of lip here. And bring the left leg in. We'll swing ourselves around and we'll meet back in a downward facing dog. Any way you'd like to get there. So if you need to walk your dog out, if your left hip is barking at you a bit, or your right hip, excuse me, find your dog and get comfortable. Now remember, we started that series with a three-legged dog with a twist. So plant the right foot, lift the left leg up behind you. Bend the left knee, flex that foot, stack left hip on top of right. Beautiful. Breathe. Watch that right shoulder. It's going to want to pull towards the right foot. Pull it forward. Pull your right shoulder forward just a little bit. Yeah, beautiful. Nice. Square the hips off and draw the knee in, swinging the foot in between the hands. Beautiful. Take that left foot out to the left side of your mat. Bring your blocks in to give you some more space here. Remembering you have 3 different heights while we play with our hip a little bit here. Stretch out long through that back heel. Make that back leg do the work here. Then the left hand floats up, and we're going to play with that left hip a little bit. Just seeing, are you open today? How you feeling? It's cold. We're cranky. And then bring the hands back down to the blocks. Make certain that you feel supported by your blocks so that you can shift your weight forward. I'm coming way up onto my right tiptoe and then over to one side, back behind the right heel, over to the other side. Great big hip rolls. They don't feel big because we're in this tight little lizard, but they are big to the joint. And then still your lizard. Draw that right knee down. Now think length in the back leg. So if that right knee just came forward, press it back. That's why we did that big Anjaneyasana stretch. Right toes into the ground, right heel rotated forward. Choose your block height here, and then begin to descend, finding your lizard lunge. As you rest here, whoops, remember we don't rest. It's not Shavasana. Plant that left foot, pull the left hip down, draw the right hip up. Are you pressing the right toenails into the ground so the knee almost lifts, the leg is activated? Notice if your weight is shifting so that your right hip is dipping down. Keep adding those refinements. Maybe walk the left foot a little further out, lifting the left, drawing the right hip up, left hip down. One more breath here. And then we'll walk the hands in underneath the heart, lifting up. You can take the blocks off, but keep them available. We're going to head to your variation of pigeon. So walk your foot in, and then either simply draw that left leg down towards the mat or fold the left leg back. If you're folding the leg back, start by making certain that the left knee is out wider than the left wrist. Left, I'm sorry?
Bending the knee in the back, is that?
You don't want to bend the knee in the back. It would be better, yeah, to place a block underneath probably your left hip. Yeah, because can you see how your left hip is forward? There you go, there you go.
Like this?
Yeah, I would even just shove it right underneath the thigh. There you go. Now, yeah, now stretching through that back leg. Do you feel that difference? Yeah. Once you're here, again, press back through the right leg and then fold down, not forward, down. Couple of breaths here. It's what?
My boo-boo knee.
Oh, yeah, it's my boo-boo knee too.
Brush for a minute, I'll rub it against the mat.
Oh, our internet is being funky. Yeah. Susan's ears just popped up. When you're ready, plant the hands on the ground. Lift the heart up. Dig the right toes in. Stretch the left leg back. You can walk it out here a little bit and then lift the hips or take the vinyasa, whatever you would like. We'll all meet eventually in a down dog. If you need a child's pose in between, go for it. See a couple of child's poses going on there, whatever feels good. We'll all meet in down dog where we'll take at least 2 breaths. And at the end of your next breath, walk your hands back by your feet. So you're coming to a forward fold at the back of your mat. Walk your feet as wide apart as your mat, please. And then draw your heels slightly in 45-degree angle. Now we are headed for Malasana squat, and I know some of you really don't like that pose. It's not good on your knees, whatever. So grab a block, and you can place that block as your throne at the back of your mat. All right, my mat's wanting to curl up. And then just bend the knees and start to drop the hips down. You might have realized, oh, that block's not where I want it, right? So you just reach back and move it. So today what I really would like, because we're working on the hip opener, make certain your feet are wider than your hips. That's one of you got to get the feet wider, hun, okay? We just had a collision over here. All right. So feet wider than the hips. And then think about pressing down through the sit bones. I got to come off the block because I'm being lazy. All right, pressing down through the sit bones. Draw the arms inside the legs and begin to press those knees wider. Hands can come to the heart, and we balance and breathe. I have a private yoga student who's from India, and he's so cute because he's working on all these other things. You want to be intimidated, try to teach somebody from India yoga. But he has the most beautiful Malasana squat and Sukhasana, lotus, and he's like, that's how we ate every meal, So take another breath or two here in your Malasana. And then when you're ready, we're going to do a little prep with the hands. So bring the elbows or bring the shoulders down nice and close to the knees, and then bring your hands down to your mat. Think bird hands, all right? Plant the hands on the mat and just begin to shift the weight forward, keeping the weight nice and low, just rocking forward onto the hands and then back to Malasana. So don't lift the hips. We're just rocking forward, staying nice and tight, and then pressing back into Malasana squat. Playing with shifting our balance without changing the pose. Some of you know, like Stephanie's like, I can almost see her going, can I press up to crow? Yeah, but we're not going there. Nope, it's a basics class. We're not going there. We're just doing this prep. All right, and then come back to your Malasana squat. Bring your hands down to your mat, lift your hips and straighten your legs, letting your head drop towards the floor. Walk the feet back in so they're hip distance or closer together. Inhale halfway up for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale and fold. Walk yourself back out to your down dog. And then exhale and drop your knees onto your mat. Shift your feet off to the right, drop your hips back and come to a seated position. All right, from this seated position here, I'm going to make some space. We're going to come all the way down onto our back, supine. Remember, supine means, oh, she wants us on our back. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see where we're headed. Yeah, have a strap available. We will add in a Supta Padangustasana. Pop quiz. What are padas? Feet, very good. Astas, padas, right? Okay, so come down, feel your back. Be very aware of the sensation of both sides of the hips striking the mat, both shoulders striking the mat. Now, if one shoulder is pressing harder, I don't want you to lift up like we normally would say. Instead, I want you to think about widening through the shoulders and then pressing the tops of the shoulders into the floor. And see, does that draw your shoulder blades underneath you without lifting through the heart? Then tighten up the rib cage without lifting the pelvis. Take a nice deep breath in, bend the knees if they're not already, and bring them up so that they're parallel, the shins are parallel to the floor. Sorry, couldn't think about what I wanted to say there. Keep pressing the belly button down towards the mat, engaging the core, and bring the hands to the thighs. As you press, try to have the shoulders stay as close to the mat as they can. Press the hands into the thighs, pull back through the thighs so that your legs don't move, and pull the belly down into the floor. Hold this until you feel some trembling begin to happen in the body. And when that happens, you can release the thighs and squeeze the legs in. We'll do that 2 more times. If you did not feel the trembling in the body, raise your hand and I'll help you get there. All right, this is a core exercise. So legs come back, parallel, shins parallel to the floor, hands come to the thighs, shoulders back and down towards the earth. Engage the belly and begin to press into the legs and then pull back with the legs. Take your chin and your throat out of this. You'll want to grit your teeth and do all sorts of interesting things trying to help here. Make the belly do the work. And again, when you feel that little tremble start to happen, you simply release, squeeze the legs in, release the thigh a little, the core a little bit. Yeah, maybe rock side to side. And when you're ready, we'll come back to that nice little gentle ab work here. Hands come to the thighs, shoulders roll back and down. Press into the legs as you pull back with the legs. Belly presses down towards the floor. Try not to squeeze the shoulders towards the ears. Again, we want to isolate this in the center of the body. And the next time that you're ready, you draw those knees in towards the chest. You find your strap, which is here somewhere. There we go. And planting the left foot on the floor, knee towards the ceiling. Take the strap around the arch of the right foot. Keep that left leg planted right where it is as you lift up through the right heel. Now, take the left hand and push that right thigh away from you and then draw the right shin a little closer to your face. Take the left arm out long, and as you exhale, take the right leg out to the right side. If you'd like this to be a little more intense, feel free to stretch that left leg out long. But what I want you to focus on is the left shoulder pulling down towards the floor, left hip. And then inhale, stretch the right leg up, bend both knees, draw the left foot inside the strap, grasp the strap with the left hand and plant the right foot. Stretch through that left leg, straightening it, drawing the left shoulder back down towards the floor. Right hand floats over to the left thigh. Lengthen the left side body by pushing the left thigh away from you and then drawing the left shin up towards your nose. So your leg's still up in the air at this point, straight up towards the sky. Beautiful. Adjusting, getting a long side body. Then that right arm stretches out, and in your next exhale, you take that left leg out to the left side. Again, once you're stretched out, if you feel like, I need a little more here, the right heel can simply float along the floor, opening this up. And at that point, hopefully you really feel the grounding through the hips and the pelvis in this pose. Draw the left leg back up towards the ceiling. Bend both knees, taking the strap off. We're going to hold that right knee in as you drop the left foot back down to the ground, coming to half happy baby. Swing that right leg outside of the right rib cage, stack right ankle on top of right knee. Right foot is flexed, hand reaches to the inside of the leg and then grasp the outside of the foot. Take a breath here. Then switch the legs out, coming to half happy baby on the left side. Again, making certain that we've cleared the rib cage with the left thigh. Stacked left ankle on top of left knee. Left elbow is inside left knee. Left hand reaches outside of left foot. And then we gently begin to increase the intensity, pulling the thigh towards the floor by drawing the ankle towards the floor. Resist the right hip popping up as much as you can. If you like full happy baby and you want to add that right leg back in, feel free to do that. And here, notice if the sacrum pops up. Try to press the sacrum flat, pulling the belly button up and in to accommodate the legs coming in. You can rest here or you can rock side to side. And then when you're ready, draw those knees in tight, grasp the shins. Inhale, lifting the head up to the knees. exhale, floating down and stretching the entire body out like a first morning stretch. Take your right leg closer to the right side of your mat, your left leg closer to the left side of your mat, and then draw your arms down and externally rotate the arms. Here we are, many of us have a habit of lifting through the heart and just drawing the shoulders under. Try again to widen the shoulders and then draw the heads of the shoulders towards the floor. Pull the belly button in, squeeze your fists, flex your feet as you press out through the heels. And then as you exhale, release all of that energy in the body and simply let your body get heavy, grounded, and held by the floor. Let your eyes close if they have not already. Settling in, noticing any areas you might still be residually holding on. And if necessary, tightening those muscles even further, and then exhaling and releasing them. Slowly and gently bring your awareness back to your breath without moving your body at all yet. Simply noticing when you are at rest, where does your breath reside? And then if it is stuck up in your chest, allowing it for a moment to lengthen and deepen. And then begin to gently bring movement back into the body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe rolling the wrists and the ankles. And if that full body stretch felt good, then clasp the hands, rolling the shoulders back over your head, stretching out through the hands and through the heels. If you took that stretch on the exhale, we'll all meet, drawing in towards the chest, bringing the legs in, the arms to grasp the shins. You can rock side to side and then gently roll to your preferred side as is available for you at home. Taking a breath or two here, noticing how the ribs feel, noticing how the breath feels. And then again, thinking of that cat in the sun. Use the upper hand and the upper leg and gently and easily roll yourself up. This time, can you curl your legs underneath you and find Vidrasana pose? Perhaps you're open enough to find this pose without any props at the end of class. If not, simply grab those props and stack back in or come to Sukhasana. Bringing your hands to your heart center. A final quote about noticing the little ebbs and flows in our life. Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. That was from Rumi. That idea of when we first understand what's happening within ourselves and we work to make those line up with what we want out of life, what we want the world to look like, we can affect a greater change in those around us and therefore in the world around us. Thank you for sharing your practice and playing with the subtleties of yoga this morning. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you, folks. If you have any questions about maybe different ways we did things or anything, I'm here. I think you can open yourselves up on your mics. What?
Open up my hips.
Stephanie said it opened up her hips.